Uko vyema?
Niko salama.
How is life?
Jinx.
I know you used to do that jinx. Alafu unachuno.
No, unachuno uchungu.
Guy.
Life.
Usually think those guardian angels usually have should be present.
Sindio?
No, like physically present.
What's the point of you guarding me if I can't see you?
Yeah, nakwambia wewe shikilia hapo.
Can you imagine if the police were invisible? You grow up thinking, I have to do this on my own, you know? Like I have to, hakuna mtu mwingine.
One thing I realized is that everything ends up working out. Sometimes even better than you can imagine. Remember this, when you're in a hard place or feel like you're being challenged the most, believe in where you're heading.
Learn to understand that. Unaona, whatever perception you have of something right now, you can always change it. It doesn't have to stay like that.
Yeah.
You can change it.
Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Profound Connections, episode 3. We should
have like 10.
Yes, here's to consistency. Here's to bring you new beautiful
Cheers.
conversations. Thank you guys for loving. I think I'll never stop saying that. Thank you for sharing, subscribing. Thank you for liking. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking our page. Thank you for liking even us as people.
Yeah,
you know, it's rare. True. So as usual, I have my buddy buds. How are you?
Good.
Uko vyema?
Niko salama.
How is life?
Jinx.
I know you used to do that jinx. Alafu unachuno.
No, unachuno uchungu.
Guy.
Life. Maisha nasemaje?
Maisha yangu poa.
Unabambanya tunajua.
A day at a time.
Lazima.
I know,
You have to wake up grateful.
I know. Hakuna option.
Like it's you to put in the work. Hakuna mtu mwingine anakuja kukufanyia.
Going up.
So tungezaliwaga na helper, you know, like uko mtu.
I usually think those guardian angels usually have should be present.
Sindio?
No, like physically present.
What's the point of you guarding me if I can't see you?
Yeah, nakwambia wewe shikilia hapo.
Can you imagine if the police were invisible? Yeah, like they're supposed to be protecting us. But then they're invisible, so
ain't working.
Please do this.
Yes. Call police. Police. Anyway, as usual, our ritual. Let's have an icebreaker question. So, what is your morning routine?
Kwa kweli, it depends on how I wake up, my mood, right? Although I've learned how to reset my mood in the morning.
Oh, okay.
So I'll wake up. Sometimes you just wake up and you feel like I just want to hide under not even under the cover, the bed. Like it's not a good day. So I acknowledge those feelings and go back to the norm now. The norm is I wake up at around 6, prepare my little one. Akiondoka, I go change into my PJs, go take a walk. Like I live for walks, morning walks. Get that morning sun, then come back. First thing I take is a glass of water. I have issues with, I am like Shrek's wife. Gassy. Like
you know.
It's a problem,
if
yeah?
You know.
Yeah, then my coffee, obviously. Then my day starts, depending on what I'm doing, where I'm going. Yeah.
Okay. You're pretty structured.
you
structured?
That is what I like people to.
Mimi naamkanga venye inakuja. Like, oh my God, I have work today. First of all, unastuka that alarm. It's like you didn't know. It's like you did see it coming that you're supposed to go to work or something. You're like, hey, another day. Wake up. Maybe alarm imelia 7:30. You're supposed to be out of the house at 8:15 there. Hey, hurry. Yeah. But anyway, morning to whatever. I think I pray. I pray. I bless my day. I think I text.
Nice. Muhimu. Kuna watu lazima waambiwe good morning, you know, baby, uliamka salama, you know.
Yeah, alafu, I go on with my day.
That's nice.
Yeah. And of course I have to put a little bit
what
of fragrance.
What about you guys? Yeah, you know.
Yeah, what's your morning routine?
I know someone who wakes up, then goes back to sleep, then now wakes up like fresh. It's like alikuwa nataka a reminder. Oh, Oh.
So anisema ni sawa tu.
Imagine that I didn't mean you, but hey.
Me, I love my sleep. It's okay.
You do.
It's okay.
You
I do
do.
love my sleep. I do love my sleep. Anyway, so today's conversation is just, I think we, in our previous conversations, we're really talking about life.
Yeah.
And all that it brings. So today is just basically getting deep and saying how we swim through the curveballs of life. Because there are many.
So many.
Ups and downs, just how we go about it too. So that's the topic of today. So our first question is, how can you describe life in general from like your point of view? Like going back in time until now, what's the meaning of life? How can you define life? I know it's a
meaning
very
of life. Wait,
I know
tumeanza existential questions.
It's very large, but
right?
Yeah.
Well, obviously, as a kid, you don't even know you're living. Like, you're not aware you're alive, you know? You just wake up, nag your parents, go to play, come back. But then when it starts hitting, ukiingia high school. Because I feel like high school, sasa hapo ndio, unaanza kujitambua, you know, like, this is what I want to do. Like, you have a rough idea of this kind of direction you want to take. So, I've always been, I overthink, I overanalyze. So, it's been quite the journey. Like, it's literally a journey. It's not a there's no destination. Maybe like that's the ultimate. Yeah. But it's a journey. A journey that you consistently and intentionally have to wake up and decide, by the way, I'm doing this. I'm doing this. Sometimes you wake up, you don't feel like continuing. And it happens, you know.
Okay.
But it's that constantly having to wake up, realize, and then you ask yourself some really hard questions that no one else will ask you, Yeah, so you might decide, like, after high school, you have that fundamental question, what am I going to do with my life after this? Then you get to campus. Campus is a bit of fun. Yeah, there's the whatever academics. You meet really fundamental, friendships.
People,
you make fundamental friendships there.
True.
You discover your spirituality, like, in depth, because now you are an adult. No one is policing you. No one is after you. Like, do you realize, my parents lived their life. Now it's my turn. Yeah, now it's my turn. Then now after campus, no one tells you, hey,
here are the shacks.
Here are the shacks. This is where you apply what you studied plus everything else your mother has been telling you. Because imagine, shall you notice? Kuna vitu vingine sahi, you notice that, for example, switching locations, like where you lived. Maybe you used to live in maybe Buruburu, yeah? And then your parents moved to, I don't know, Kangundo. Or, okay, Bali extreme. Maybe Nakuru or something like that. And you don't understand. Or atata Nakuru, apa tu outskirts Kiambu. You don't understand. You get to adulthood. You're like, hey, enyewe kuna kitu inaitwa rent. Kuna kitu inaitwa, you start discovering maybe you don't like certain environments. Unaanza kujitambua. But I don't think I can actually say, what is life? Life, like breathing. I'm a living being. I breathe. I function. I have biological functions, I have chemical functions within me. I mean, the human body is just, I love the human brain. The body is just a mystery. Yeah.
So you're saying your point of realization about life was in high school?
Well, that's when I started really thinking about it, because I lost my mom in Form 2.
Okay, sorry.
So it's like all through, I didn't know I was alive. Yeah, because I was spoiled.
Aren't we all?
Mimi sikuchapwa. Alikuwa natuma my cousin anichape. And then naenda kuchapa uko mbali. By the time nafika hapa asiri imepungua utabango sana. Yeah. But then I think after she passed on, I was like, oh my God. Okay, so she's not around. What next? What happens? And then there was how that whole scenario was handled. I wasn't told. Mimi nilikuja, came back to the country. Kuna watu wamezaa kwa boma. And then you realize, imagine even these adults, hata wao wajui ni nini, wanafoji tu maisha. Yeah.
Okay, interesting. I wanted to say if I dissociate myself, because I really don't like that statement.
Yeah.
But yeah, when was I think life for me was life in even earlier on, because I mean, different dynamics, different people. I think for me, I realized from a young age, kama we ingekuwa when I was younger, that was a statement. We, like it's like I feel like how you're raised, how you're brought up, how whatever your dynamics of life in general really determine your outlook of life, because that's what we're talking about, and your realization point of this is how life is. You know, kuna inafanga point uko like, by the way, either it's you and your God, ama you have people surrounding you, ama sometimes you're just in a place.
True.
Yeah. Okay. So life is, of course, unpredictable.
True.
Very unpredictable. Give me share with us one of your experiences about how life
is unpredictable. Well, a very good example. I'll give a quote. I don't remember how to frame it exactly, but there's such a thing as, you want to make God laugh, make plans. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. You want to make him laugh, make plans. Because one moment you're here, the next you're down.
Under, yeah.
So akuna trajectory ya mtu. I don't know about like if yours goes.
Please
let
us give us the secret.
What you're using.
Give us the tea. Which mountain are you facing?
Yeah, but life has ups and downs.
Yeah.
And I feel like through the overcoming like the downs and the ups and understanding the dynamics, that's how you grow as a person. You get to learn so much about yourself, which is very important. Like, get to know you before you start, getting to know other people.
Okay.
Understand yourself. Then it's easier for other people to understand you, because you're like, no, imagine, here are my boundaries, here are, learn to be appreciative of small things, give people compliments, and yourself, be kind to yourself, be grateful.
Okay.
So there's, like, kuna hiyo kupanda na kushuka. Yeah. And that's life, and that's the beauty of it. Yeah.
It's a sad thing, but it's laughable. Like, I think my point of realization is, it's a very sad story, by the way. So I think I said this in my previous Mkendo Kule Tapa Music itongana YouTube page, where we started off. We talked about similar things, and I think I shared that I was always like a sickly child.
Okay.
So unfortunately, I had to be admitted in hospital when I was younger. And then unajua umeenda hospitali, unajua kwanza when you're a child unaambiwa admission, unajua wewe sasa you're dying,
you're going.
Hey, tumefika hapo, everything is how it is. The next room we're seeing, mtoto amekulwa na fisi.
Oh my God.
I think
that is traumatic.
Yes, it was very traumatic, especially we were children, but for me it hit me. Oh my God, there's people who are going through even worse. And I think from that day I learned to appreciate every moment, even if you're under. Just appreciate the fact that you're in that position, yes, but you're alive and well, and it's gonna be okay. Because I remember the mom, was it the mom or the auntie or the people who used to rescue her? Imagine that child is the one who was giving us nini. Sasa alikuwa Masai, sasa hajui kuongea English or Kiswahili, but she would come to your bedside and give you encouragement. So you're like, okay, na mimi nimekapa. You're literally it's like, I'm dead, I'm alive. You've seen that TikTok thing, So it's just, I think that was my point of realization. That Bex, lives, it's how you take it. It's how your view of things, your view of life. It was really
such an interesting. And for such a young person can you imagine putting your grief, putting your whatever you're going through, constantly, kila mtu akona something that's happening in your life, right? So it's such a beautiful thing for such a young person. Umeliwa na fisi. Do you know the jaw bite, the bite force ya fisi ni hata I think ni stronger kuliko ya these big cats, most of them. Fisi ikona, so it is painful. But this child is choosing to put that pain aside, choosing to put everything that she's feeling or he's feeling aside, alafu anakuja na anakupatia wewe kind words. You even stop and think, you're like, okay,
where am I getting it wrong? Sindio. Hey, but yeah, that was really something. How do you think we should? I think we've talked about this before, but in general, just life. How do you think we should tackle it? In the challenges, in the good times, how do you think we should challenge?
So I had some points here.
Okay.
I'll just tamka them, and then you can pick one.
Okay,
and then
no problems, no problems.
So there's one, being true to yourself. Number 2, confront your challenges. Like when you unasema, okay, enyewe this is happening. Like head on. I am going to deal with this, yeah? Then distinguish thoughts from facts. Very important.
Okay.
Kuna saa you're having like thoughts, sijui this is going on, blah 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 blah. Unaona kitu ikiwa imefanyika and then you haven't communicated. If it's maybe you and maybe your mom, right? Mko na kabif. So wewe uko na all these thoughts. Maybe anipendi ndo maana nifanyie hivyo, sijui nini. But then they are not facts.
Yeah.
So we mostly dwell with the thoughts, and those thoughts si facts. Mama akuchukia kama hata alikuchukia, maybe alikufinya ama nini, si tena kuchukia, okay, which is really wrong. But yeah, you're trying
you need to understand where someone is coming from.
The next, change your perspective. Which is really important. So basically, consider challenges as a part of growing, a part of growth. So view situations from a different point of view. Like unaona, so I'm going through this. Take a moment and then a step back, and then it's like you're looking from the outside in.
Okay.
You know, that point you nanina change. So maintain a sense of humor. Very important. You cannot walk through life like Scrooge.
Kind of be sarcastic.
I know. After humor,
have some humor in your life,
and then have friends who make you laugh.
You know, that's what reminds me of us when we're in the pitest of mtu anasema kitu so stupid uko at this time.
Have you ever noticed people think we like that? Okay, we do that humor, but
like at this time you're saying that, like, or like they are supposed to be hurt. Why are you taking this as a joke?
It's like you don't know how exactly you're feeling. You're processing it.
But yet again, don't use it as a way of escaping it.
True.
Deal with it.
So be kind to yourself. Number 6. Number 6, yeah? After. So be kind to yourself. There's something called channeling self-compassion.
Okay.
Right? So during tough times, you overcome challenges with an improved sense of like connectedness. So number 7, persistence is key. Yes, imekushinda. Don't quit. If you listen, like, enda YouTube to successful people, listen to their life stories. Like at some point, kila mtu tu kuna mali alipata a giant boulder of a problem. If you quit, you will quit at everything else in your life.
True.
I swear to God. True. So persistence. Hata kama persist. And then remember, happiness is a journey, not a destination.
True.
Ati sasa niko happy leo, I should be happy all through. You have a problem. You can't be happy all the time. Come on. It's a journey. Kuna times, yes, I'm not going to be happy, and it is okay. It is not, you're human. You have emotions, a wide range of them. So remain thoughtful, kind and gracious, like the little kid to you, despite whatever she was going through.
Yes.
And then number 10, devise and uphold your personal boundaries.
Okay.
I find that, you see, your boundaries are a measure of your self-esteem. Like, it's...
Your boundaries are a measure of your self-esteem. Okay.
So, you ensure that you aren't vulnerable to being used.
Okay.
Sawa. So, there are people who tend to think that, let me just allow everyone and anyone to do anything to me. Even your own family, your friends. Sawa. Sagine chora boundary. If something is uncomfortable, communicate. By the way, this is uncomfortable. Now, the way you communicate, kumbuka this other person is also a human being, right? So, again, be kind. So, in as much as kitu kimekukera, na unataka kudraw that line, draw it and explain it in a way that he will understand or she will understand where you're coming from. That, and this makes me uncomfortable. And for my well-being, for my self-esteem, this needs to stay. This line that I've drawn needs to stay.
Okay.
Otherwise, it will mess with your self-esteem. Because everyone is constantly crossing those boundaries. Inafika mahali, you've been used, you've been manipulated. Unaanza kuwa depressed.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Very true.
So, yeah.
Okay. Talking about all that, like I think I was talking with B. I mean, is it you about this? We're talking about the word resilience. Is it you? I can't remember. Yeah. So we're talking about resilience, and I asked, as women, or okay, let me say as human beings, the word resilience to you, what does it mean? First of all, what does it mean?
Quite resilient.
Hey,
Not being able to withstand certain pressures, certain things. Yeah.
Okay, fine, good. So do you think that we have grown up learning resilience as a defense mechanism?
It's us who were talking about that.
It's us. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, remember we were having this conversation.
Yeah.
Like we are resilience is a nice thing, by the way, guys. It's a very extremely nice thing. But kuna vitu zingine unashindwa sasa nini uko like
it's life that made you.
Yes,
that
bila hiyo it's like you always have need to be pushed over by something or triggered by something for you to do something. And like for example, I don't know whether this will apply, but for example, you the way we said in the last episode, actually, you grew up being told you're not enough. You grew up being told you're not doing well in school. You grew up being told even body shaming.
Yeah.
So unapata mtu, yes, resilience, ako gym mbaya. Uko gym, una gym. But you don't take in the fact that this resilience is being it's like having a negative impact in your life. Like resilience has come up as a negative thing. It's not supposed to be negative. It's a good thing. Kwanza ukisikia mwanamke is resilient. Our mothers were resilient.
You adapt to the situation.
You adapt to the situation. But I feel like sometimes people use it as what's it called? It's like an amplifier to your problems. So kama for example body shamers, so unaambiwa, oh, you're big, so you go to the gym, maybe even you have a health condition, but what people are saying to you and what you have learned through life, you go to the gym, you work out, but it's not going
for the right reasons.
Yes, you're not in short, you're not doing things for the right reasons.
Like it's people you're trying to prove to that yes, I got out of it. It's not to yourself.
Ama for example, mimi nazaisema tu mimi nashanga nikiambia, oh, you're small. So maybe ukienda party, unakula. Prove a point that guys, I eat, it's just because the food, I don't know.
Mwili haina shukrani.
So you know that's resilient. You're resilient in showing you're trying to prove by the you won't come at me in my body to tell me I'm small. Mwingine huko anaambiwa wewe ni mnene, so ukuli. So unatoka bash kama una njaa. Unaona? So I feel like I think how we view life and how we view situations, and especially these terms that are put across when you when you're growing up. You need to there needs to be a change of point of view that makes sense.
If I can give an example, so in my own life, I grew up with a very strong mom. Like she was a go-getter, like alikuwa anajua kutafuta na nini. And then kulikuwa na some situations at home that were not really pleasant. Topic for another day, but so you grow up thinking I have to do this on my own, you know, like I have to, hakuna mtu mwingine, especially after she passed on, like there's no one else. If I don't do it, if I don't make it, sina mtu mwingine around that nitaenda kumkimbilia. Na imagine si eti hawako.
You've already formed
you
formed a thing,
to an extent, mpaka someone is offering love. Okay, like you don't know how to accept it because uko tu hapo, you're resilient. You know? So to some extent, vitu zingine when you grow unakuja una realize sasa yenyewe nakazana hapa juu kama a friend of mine offered me something, and then instead of saying thank you, I was like, why? Why you giving? Ushaanza kutafuta ulterior motives, you know. Ushaingia Sherlock mode, you know. But it's simple. This person has love in his heart. He's kind and compassionate. And I extend. Wewe haujui kuabsorb, wewe umeka una block because ushazoea kuishi in certain situations, umezoea
una ugumu
uko tu, you know, na it comes in different forms, very many different forms, yeah.
And okay, because you're talking about resilience, I think it comes hand in hand with accountability, especially in life. What's your take on accountability in life? Like, if first of all, I know you're supposed to be accountable to yourself
first,
and then you're supposed to be accountable at least to one other person or two. So what's your take in that? Where do you draw your boundaries and accountability? How do you even present the conversation about accountability? Because there's some people who don't understand it.
Maybe just define what accountability is.
Sasa
yeah, kwa accounting
nipe an example, yeah. For example, you are going somewhere, and I think I'm very big on this. If you're going somewhere, let me know where you're going.
Oh my God.
You know, if you're going somewhere, let me know at least one person you are with, because mimi kwanza hiyo kitu nilianza kuingiziwa nikiwa mdogo. With fear. It was fear being instilled, but also a lesson. Like, sasa utaenda where you're going, you get a car crash. We won't know, you know. Yeah. And I grew up now noticing, but it's something. It's okay to just say, by the nimefika pale. It doesn't hurt. Nimefika pale. Takuja maybe this time na niko na huyu. Period.
Funny enough, unajua even with your young kids, yeah, like ile unamwambia, unajua kama kitambo parents, mtoto ni mdogo lakini baba anataka kuwa Chuck Norris, sijui apande dirisha ashuke na bed sheets because hataki mtoto amuone alie. Do you know it starts there? Tell the child, by the way, daddy is going out or mommy is going out, I'll be back. Unaona? Pia you're protecting, mtoto anaanza kuform what is it, attachments and detach, hizo like
attachment styles, yeah.
Na ajue kwamba sijaachwa, unajua what is it called, attachment styles. Ile mtoto ana feel nilikuwa abandoned, unaona, mbona anatoroka. Tell the child, unaona, mtoto akiwa mkubwa hata yakitoka anaenda mahali, if my dad, a whole dad told me ni kwanza nikiwa mdogo, mama, I am coming back, sawa, mtoto anakaa kwa comfortable, anajua this person ataenda lakini atarudi. Most of us unapata mzazi wako alihepaga mpaka wewe ulishazoeaga. Mtu anataka kukua, wewe ishia bro,
soon I'll come soon.
Peace, you know, but it's really important. And for me, I think it comes hand in hand with communication, right? So if I tell you that, so for example, maybe my boyfriend, hi, so I'm in such and such a place, I'll be back at such and such time, right? I expect that at some point, you also, ukiwa huko nje, uko like, niaje, si eti tuna keep tabs on each other. It's just that, imagine hii dunia iko na a lot of things happening. One moment you're laughing with someone, the next they're not there.
I think news has become so tragic.
Nikuambia jana news, by the way, for your mental state, nitachukiwa na watu wa media, but imagine news.
Yeah,
hey, inaweza kudepress.
News has become so tragic, and it's so bad because you need friends in your life.
Yeah.
You need people around you. You need people around your corner. That's at a squeeze, you can't trust those friends.
Yeah. So unaona, when you're accountable to someone, hata to your friends, yeah. Wasi niko mali unajifunza. It starts from you. Alafu pia kuwa accountable to yourself. Which means you also have to be very honest with yourself. Do not lie to yourself. Like ni wewe unajidanganya alafu. Yeah.
Okay. And mindset and attitude play a big role in the way life goes. Yeah.
Na unaona sasa kwa mtu mwenye maybe previously, like where you come from, there's no accountability. And then you grow up, you find yourself, you have to interact with humans. You're not an island. You have to interact with humans. So you find that, kumbe hivi ndo kunaendaga. Imagine, sometimes instead of fighting what you think,
what you
this
know.
Is who I am, this is what I know, right?
Yeah.
Instead of fighting it, maybe take a moment and just ask yourself, okay, mtu akiniambia, like anashinda akiniambia, okay, niko mali fulani, like you see how kibibi atakwambia at every step, niko sijui niko
sawa
si ni sawa, si unakuja hujazoea mtu akiwa that accountable. So with time unaanza kusema na by the way it makes sense. Dunia ya sasa you know, so you learn how to tell people the mode how you will communicate that, you know.
So when it comes to mindset, it's all about unlearning and learning.
Yes.
All the time.
Actually, that's
Constantly.
life.
Yeah, and I
That's
think
life.
when you, as a parent, those are some of the things that you're going through
learn
with your child, yeah?
and unlearn, na vitu zingine una notice hey, nilifanya naye anafanya, so you can't even start being angry. You're just like, take a chill pill, relax kwanza, unaangalia mtoto. Yeah, like the day I called you guys and told you my daughter decided this kanywele hapa inaitwa nywele uchokozi. So someone in school alimwambia it's ni mbaya,
Kenda
kata mpaka hapa. Alafu my niece akamchocha, akamwambia situmalizie hairline tu, like mimi naingia kwa gate na shangaa napata na Shaolin monk anakuja ananikimbilia, I'm like
who's this?
Do you know I did the exact same thing at that age? Unaona? The exact same thing. So instead of I was like, okay, so what happened? Explain to me what was happening in your head. I go like, so now, and she explained herself what she felt. And for a moment, I actually had to reduce myself to her level.
Yeah.
Nikajikumbuka, like, that is exactly how I felt at the time. Yeah? So it's really important. Unaanza na watoto, unawafundisha. Like, learn things from a young age. And plus, we keep saying we want a better generation. So you start with those young people. Yeah? Na wewe mwenyewe pia. It's never too late to change. To unlearn some things.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. That's very. So it starts from a young age.
Yeah.
So you grow up with these things you've known. You grow up with, what are they called? Fundamentals of your life. And it's hard to change them. It's very hard.
Na imanishi just because that you didn't have that kutoka ukiwa mtoto hati utakuwa nayo.
Yeah, you will.
Kuna.
You will.
That's the beauty of being a human, man.
Yeah. You always morph.
Yeah,
we're always
morph
morphing
into something so beautiful. One moment you feel like, the absolute worst. The next, things are golden.
Yeah, okay. What are some of these tools that we can use to extend grace to one another as friends? In a relationship, with family, with all the dynamics we have around us? What are these tools we can use? Because remember, people are different and people morph differently at different times and seasons at the same time. So yeah, what are those tools that we can use?
Well, for one, the obvious therapy. Yeah, go for therapy.
Nakwambia huko tutapewa nini? Activists of therapy.
My tagline. Therapy is important, but it is true, and not for the sake of just going there. Most people, or rather, wacha niseme in Kenya, hii kitu haikuwa sensitized from kitambo. Alafu most of us in kwanzia ushago huko ni shida za hii boma zinabaki kwa hii boma. So ukitoka kwa hiyo boma, by the time unakuja hapa town na interact na watu wengine, hata wewe shida za hii mwili zinabaki wapi? Kwa hii mwili. You don't know how to communicate. Like, I am going through 1, 2, 3. Unaona. Once you grow and then you realize, hey, by the way, there's something off. Like, a lot of people cannot be like, hey, hata wewe mwenyewe unajua there are some things that are off with you. You go to therapy. Going to therapy doesn't mean you're mentally ill. It means you love yourself so much and you're so self-aware that I am not 100%. No one is perfect. Hata kama kuna bista yako anashinda kwambia I'm golden. Mtege siku moja akiwa bafu analia like your problem. So therapy is really important. And then really it teaches you tools that will help you. It's a journey. Si eti kila siku unaenda therapy and then I'm cured. No, it is a journey that 70% of the work, if I may say so, ni wewe, si therapist. Juu anakaa na kuguide. So ni wewe unajifanyia.
Okay. Yeah. And aside from therapy, what are the tools that we can use?
Your people, the people around you. Your connections, the connections that you've built around yourself.
All right.
Yeah, what kind of connections do you have? Who do you talk to? There's a quote I read, You see, what you feel in what you surround yourself with, is exactly what's going to be here. That's what's going to be projected out. What you feel in your brain is what is going to come out. Garbage in, garbage out. Yeah. So surround yourself with people wenye wanakujenga, right? Si eti tuna bond over trauma bonding. You bond
over your problems.
Unajuaga kwetu tuliambiwaga let's be tough. Kama for example, like mimi I had to learn through Kina Becca that imagine talking about your feelings is not such a bad thing. Because I used to think, maybe that's a sign of weakness, you know.
Yeah.
I cry and I used to say that it's weakness, kulia, kufa. Hey, I realized what I'm saying weakness, ni mimi ndo nitakufa.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Because sometimes it hurts so much. It hurts. Haujui how to express and say, this is what's going on with me. Like, you're so confused.
Yeah.
And the more you surround yourself with people who don't also understand you and themselves, ndio kabisa unapotea.
Like I was, okay, I'm big on Twitter. So there was this conversation that was going around. And they were saying, if you don't have that friend you can call at, what is the weirdest time?
4 a.m.
4 a.m., 3 a.m., 2 a.m. when you're in your deepest part.
Yeah. In the trenches.
You need to
reevaluate.
Yourself. Because personally, I have people in a sound but wengi, but I know of few individuals in my life when I call them at whatever time
they show up,
they'll be there. Hata kama wamelala watakuwa sasa ni nini, and once they hear me crying, and I think it took me a long time for me to think crying, as you've said, as much as you've learned it from me, to think that crying is not a weakness. It's not a form of weakness. You know, but it had to be this community also encouraging me and telling me, Bex, whatever you're going through, at whatever time, cry. Like, come and tell me, like, I'm not okay.
And this is not just for women. Like, ata mimi kwanza, there's one mentality I do not like. Kwambia boy child ati mwanaume asioneshe emotions.
Wow.
Okay, boy child kwani si human?
Can I ask a very it's not a silly question, but do you think it's an African thing to tell?
It's not even an African thing, because I think ukienda Asia kuna,
because I have a story for you.
American.
When I was working at some school, we had an issue there. So some teacher was there saying, alipatikana na parent akiwaambia huyu mtoto, boys don't cry. Hey, mimi paka umeona, I thought, see, you guys are boiling this thing out of proportion. I'm telling you that parent was miffed. It ilifikia top and tops. Like, he was sitting there, the parents like, no, you're supposed to emotionally prepare my child for anything. She's not supposed to be. I think for me, even I was like, wait, the number of times I've said
without even knowing,
because it's already in you, you know. So I was like, wow, these parents are so aware. So this child will be so in tune with their emotions, and awatakuwa wananini, what's it called? Wanalalia, kizungu imepotea. They won't be wanalalia mse for comfort, or you're not saying I'm happy just because of sake of I'm happy to make you happy,
or looking for things to distract you.
Yes,
from
I don't know how I can do that. So I was just like, wow, if I had that, I'd be a totally different person. Because all the time I feel like we used to get into trouble in school or whatever. The first thing you do, you're like, I don't want even anyone to know. You know. But this child, whatever happens, is like, oh, by the way, this happened. And they have a conversation with their parents, and it's just like that. If he's in the wrong, ataambiwa, by the way, that was not right to say, but instead you should do this and this and this. And I thought, how beautiful.
It's like saying, I find it inaitwa nini, an oxymoron of sorts. Kuambia, okay, so you have a baby boy, sindio? You're grooming this child. Atakuja kuwa someone's husband, or atakuja kuwa someone's partner. And then, okay, sasa unajua, you have to be politically correct. That's why I'm not even I don't think
Ilona too young. I know.
But okay, tuseme tu like in a
just say partner. Partner is a beautiful
partner,
word.
yes. So but niko nataka kuelezea in a kind of like boy girl relationship.
Partner bado.
Yes. Huyu at the same time, the same society inashinda ikisema women are very emotional beings. Unaambia huyu kijana mwenye atakuja kuwa partner to this emotional being, yes, kuwa emotional. How is he supposed to understand this one?
Clash.
Yeah, that's true.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and then another thing amongst men pia wenyewe. Like, mnaenda mnakaa kwa bar, mko na problems wote, huyu uko seta anakufa the next 2 minutes. Mmekaa hivi mko tu mnakunywa, you distract.
Kila mtu akona bia bottle yake. No one is talking.
So how are you helping each other? Can you give grace? Men, give grace to each other. Like, if your boy comes to you na analia, snot tears and nini, instead of kucheka kwenda bafu kucheka.
Yes.
Kindly understand where he's coming from.
There's a beautiful conversation. I don't know. I think it was ni YouTube channel ya BN. I think he had something. Ilikuwa inaitwa nini? Guys, ilikuwa inaitwa, if you've seen it. The one, shaved hair. Something. Okay, ni ya BN. And he had men coming over to talk about stuff. And it was, man, I nimesawa majina zao, but when I see them, I know them. It was such a beautiful conversation to watch because these are people we've seen in the limelight, blah, 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 and how they have changed over time. And they were saying how they genuinely, ile walikaa chini wakasema, wow, I need to change my perspective of life. I need to change how I think. And the moment these people got children, they just genuinely ile wali decide, I want to be the best for this child. I want to be involved. I want to unlearn what my parents did. And atusemi ni mbaya, but there's some things, of course, ziko here, neither here nor there. So you don't want it to thing it to your child. So they are so the word is intentional of making it work for this child, and the relationship that they're in isikue the same cycle.
Exactly.
It was, I think I watched that thing, I was like, oh, this is so cute, because first of all, that means you will understand your woman. You will understand that, oh, I'm starting a family. That's not supposed to be, it's a unique setting. Like families are different units, you know, and I need to be a parent. And maybe kwanza moja alikuwa anasema kona boy na kona girl. So it was interesting the way alisema ati yeye ndo alifunza mtu yake about menstrual periods. It wasn't the mom. And I was like, oh my God, me kama ningekuwa mtu wake, I think I would have loved when my dad's serious, because I'm like, oh my God. It was so beautiful to see that it's the man of the house taking charge and saying, this is my girl, come. Paka walinda kubuy pads. So the wife is there wondering, unajua large, unajua small, unajua, you know, the way they are arranged. And I was like, wow, I want this. You know.
Have you ever had someone talk about their dad, mwanaume? Unaangalia, like, bromances can be beautiful. Like,
I know.
Like when jamas just blend and they're just, you're like, wow. Unasikia mtu akiongea na the dad mpaka uko, why didn't I have that? You know, I need this. But the moment you realize that as an adult, this is the time for you now to start reflecting, like sasa mimi, and whether you want a family, you know. Na hata kama tu si family, you're not at an island. You interact with people. Yeah? And these people, pia emotions. So ukisema tu uko hapo kama jiwe, juu hata some women are like that, from certain tribes. Unaambiwa ukae ngumu. Yeah, but kumbuka in way back then, pia environment ilikuwa harsh. You had to be hard. Get with the program, get with the times. Trust yourself, trust the process. Na ujikubali. Like, if you feel bad, you feel bad. Acknowledge, and then start asking yourself, okay, hii inatoka wapi? You know, where is it coming from? Yeah, but the moment you start checking yourself first before mtu mwingine akucheck, aki, you have a beautiful life. Because utaamka hivi like uko na hasira. Na mtu wako hapo hivi unasikia kurushanisha me there are times nilikuwa natoka job, ninaingia kwa gate.
Like people.
Kwanza mwenye naona tukalikera like unakuta na dogi yake iko happy, unasikia kuiweka teke huko. But then unajitaka mkutano hivi LD, why are you angry? Why is it really this one's fault? Is it the dog's fault? Is it no? So you check yourself, you're like, okay. So calm down and imagine hata huyu anapitia vitu zake, so let me put my emotions in check. Yeah, so it's a beautiful thing to understand yourself and extend that.
Interesting, because I think this topic is very similar to a previous one that I did, and I remember during the episode itself, I remembered my life, and I was like, why me? I used to be bullied. Me, I just asking. I want to get to unajua kujua watu walienda wapi wenye walikuwa wananibully, niulize nini nilikuwa inawasumbua haswa. But anyway, it made me better. And I remember there's a time I was bullied. I was bullied in
and why did they bully you?
If you want that, we will have this topic of why bullies are why. But anyway, so in school I used to be bullied. Outside, like kwa court hapo nje, you're being bullied. So me, I was never the girl of going to play with people. Me, I was always a loner since day one. And I remember saa hii time unajua self awareness umeingia huko. Sawa naweza enda kupiga round ya bike ama skates ama whatever then wewe nilioneshwa dust. So nikarudi kwa nyumba. Unajua vile watu hiyo wanakuanga na tantrums, nimerudi kwa nyumba nini. My grandmother is ready to fight but she didn't fight. She aliniacha ni go through my tantrums, akanikalisha chini. Me my go to itangwa nini lullaby was milk and ugali up to today. If you see me taking ugali and milk, there's something I'm going through.
Sugar kiasi.
I know, a little bit of sugar. And she told me, Becca, hata anakusumba kwani wameandika hizi majina kwa forehead yako. And again she said it in Kikamba. So somehow
hit home
it
proper.
hit home. I was like, oh, but they are and then I'm stupidly saying, but they are Jandika. But constantly that has been something that she's always reminded me in my life. And it's all about, babe, you're a soft girl. You're a baby girl. Hurt people. It's not about you. Learn how to differentiate. If someone is coming at you with some silly thing, kwanza kaa chini ujiulize, but umseni kama na, you know, and you have two options. Either you walk away or you stay in the situation. And they always say, I think that has keep going in my life everywhere. Kwanza and it's not even necessarily ati umenifanyia kitu ama umeniambia maneno. But the moment I feel like you've come at me, those words will always be in the back of my mind. That whatever amesema doesn't define me, first of all. Remember, we are enough from the previous whatever.
Yeah.
And secondly, those words are not on my face. So it's not me. So it's okay.
Yeah.
Go you. Be you, do you.
Another thing, we are humans, right? So at times, kuna mtu atakuja, ako in his feelings or her feelings, akufoke, right? Hata wewe mwenye unafoka, because it's not always that you'll check yourself at, where did this one come from? Like, kuna siku tu, like you're in your field, you just want to, you know.
Yeah.
So kindly, after you're done with your
shenanigans,
with your uproar, jite mkutano pia, and then apologize to yourself first, because anger is like poison, man. You've poisoned yourself first. Kwanza umejieliminate na everyone else, because now everyone else is looking at you like, hey, umekuwa mnyama.
Toxic.
Yeah, so kila mtu anataka kukimbia. Hata hey, umekuwa tu something else. So once you acknowledge that, oh, okay, yeah, baby, I messed up. Apologize to yourself. Like really think about what was going through, you know, that you at that particular, what was going on, and then go apologize to a person. Yeah, I swear, hata kama amekukosea, apologize fast.
There's nothing that makes a difference than saying I'm sorry. Bas tu.
Hata mtu ana melt hata anasahau ni nini. Shida ilikuwa wapi.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. I think there was a time I was going through a thing with an ex mahali. A thing. And I was mad. Like we'd make plans and then he goes out. Right? I know he's with his boys. Sawa. Ni usiku. Right? I'm here, I'm like, yeah. So I called him. I'm like, hey, niaje?
First, the question is, uko sawa?
But then now, hata apiki your call. Hey! Unaanza kuchemka kwanza hapo kwa nyuma.
But uko na anxiety, uko na anger.
Unfortunately for me, niko na an issue na barabara, I think you know. Yeah?
Yes.
So for me, the first thought yenye ilikuwa inaingia kwa akili yangu, hata si eti anafanya nini wala nini. No.
Kitu inaweza fanyika on the way.
Ama alipata accident. Ako kwa mtaro mahali na hakuna mtu anajua. Alafu, at the same time, I find it hard. I don't like talking to my man's boys. I don't like it. I'm not dating you people. I'm dating him. No. So that one time I called the friend. The following morning, like he didn't pick the calls. Unaona. Na mimi after 3 phone calls, I am done. Because kama ya kwanza ya pili ya tatu jaona, what is the point of 11 missed calls?
What is?
Yes, exactly. So si nikakausha. Asubuhi, juu now I'm genuinely worried. Mpaka I'm sweaty kabisa. Yeah. I'm like, kijana watu wamekufa. And then anapenda speed. Na alikuwa ameenda, you know, party kidogo. I was just, you know, tensed. I called the friend. The friend is like, hey, hata ndio huyu anatoka kwa gari yake anakuja hapa parking. I was just like, so ako hai, ako sawa. Nilikata hiyo simu.
I know.
I broke up with him that day. I was so pissed. And then later on, ndio nakaa nafikiria niko, was it too rush? But no,
it's not too
rush.
No,
as in, I was genuinely worried. I was genuinely, you know.
But I think it's a guy thing. Acha nikwambie kweli. Juu hata sahi guka yangu in his old age, now when people grow older, you protect them like kids. So ameenda tu hapo sokoni, you are hella worried. Ametoka tu, it's like mi ni mtu mkubwa, ameacha. You're like, kukaa kwapi? You're all worried. Mpaka siku ingine nikamwambia, haya, the same uliniambia about accountability, niambie padi unaenda. So he laughed. He's like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. But I was like, yeah, it affects me. Please tell me. Because if something happens, that would.
And I think for most people, not just men, for most people, when someone is concerned, yeah, like instead of kukimbilia kusema naye ananinag kila saa, ebu try and imagine what might be going through this person's head. Like okay, what happens when nikitoka, what goes through your head? Nini? You might find hata si kenye unafikiria ni something completely different.
True.
So you learn, alafu pia you notice ni kama hujazoea kujaliwa. Unajua most men from the time you're a teenager, I think wakihit puberty,
you let loose to the dogs.
Your brother and sister, your brother can come back home at 8 jioni. Wewe jaribu kuja kwa hiyo nyumba at 8. So I think boys wanna learn from a young age. Naweza enda, si so long as nitarudi, si wanajua nitarudi. Do not assume people know. Guy, hey, you're dealing with,
I know.
Do not assume. Hata with your parents, don't assume ati, because my brother-in-law and his brothers, walikuwa wanakasirika mpaka wanazima simu wote, wanapigiana kabisa, wanaambiana zimeni simu, mama ameanza kelele. Juu anauliza mko wapi? Si eti anataka kufunga gate ama nini.
Just worried.
It's a mother just worried. Unaona? By the time he got to understand that, imagine, hata si nini wala nini, si upendeke tu, like, ni kujali, mtu anakujali, anataka kujua, ukoje. And maybe at times it's the way you're delivering the kujali,
message,
so maybe you check yourself. But
okay. We've talked about life in its different forms. We can talk about life in its happy form. Life can be good.
Hey.
Life can be so good. Baka uko mali uko, I'm leaving. Have you ever reached that point in your life? You're like, na maisha iko poa, hakuna shida. Baka unataka kutafuta shida.
You're waiting for the other shoe to drop.
But yeah, life can be good, guys. Enjoy your life. Enjoy. Enda uko nje, party, road trips, nini. Live your life. Life is so fickle. If there's something this universe, man, God is reminding me, I think every moment nowadays is life is so fickle. Moments with people are so fickle. Enjoy the moments with people. Kama mezozana nini, try and figure it out. If it's not, just be happy with people. Genuinely happy with people. Yeah,
that's true. I mean, if you really think about it, there are people you thought you would know for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then you wake up one day
and they're gone.
They're not there.
They are.
And then it is so hard to move on.
It is so hard.
It is so hard.
Oh my God.
So you learn that I need to appreciate everyone. Hata unaona mse wa shop. Yeah? Mama wa mboga mwenye. Uko poa? You good? How are the kids? Yeah? Funny enough, ushai notice you compliment someone baka you feel good about yourself. Right?
Like talking about moments, I recently lost a very close grandma. And she used to be the life of the party. Like, ule akosa kujabashi mko,
turn up Charlie.
Hey, and then she used to crack dark jokes. Think we're dark. Hey, bro. Alikuwa nasema paka uko, hey, shushu.
Enough.
Nini. So, unfortunately, I don't know how to put it at this point. I'm still processing. She has passed on. So she used to say a joke. When people, we used to, in our family, we say, wase wakispeed. Unaona hii ni yellow. Drivers, this is a yellow line. You're not supposed to overtake on a yellow line. Ama this is a corner. You're not a periscope. Ama una binocular eyes ya corner. What's happening on the other end? Unaona mtu kwanza sana wa pro box. Down. So si usema, haya, maybe ameitwa. Ukweli? So those are the jokes she used to make. Sorry if it's... So there's this thing she used to say, when you go somewhere and someone is like, usimuite. No, there are people moan and they're like, oh my God. Usimuite. Alisha. So on our funeral day. And then our family, like my family, please let's grow up. Okay? So yeah, it happened. We were all sad, graveside, and then one person started calling. my uncle. Remember we are all crying. Tumeshikana, unajua. I go, wait, usimwite. And I was like, oh my God. I think that's the point I realized Shushu is gone. And this joke will never be the same. It will always be a reminder of the moments that we had.
Yeah.
So man, live your life. If there's something both two people in my life have shown me is live your life to the fullest.
And it starts with, unaona, people take for granted the word love. But imagine, ebu jiulize, like, do I know what love really means? Ama, what's my definition of love? And it starts with you. Because if you genuinely love yourself, ni rahisi sana extend that. Yeah. And pia it's also very easy kuweka boundaries. Because you know, hey, I'm protecting my peace. Siko ubaya. And you don't have to be mean when you're trying to protect your peace or kuweka boundaries. You don't have to be mean. You can just be polite and say, hey, baby, hapa na feel mekam sana. Like, nah, I'm not comfortable.
Yeah, this is not
hey, I'm not comfortable. So,
right.
Yeah.
So in conclusion, as usual, I have a quote. School So it's by sijui kama ni Idil Ahmed or Idil. Tell me how you pronounce it. He says, Amatashi, sijui at this point, but one thing I realized is that everything ends up working out. Sometimes even better than you can imagine. Remember this, when you're in a hard place or feel like you're being challenged the most, believe in where you're heading.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Believe in where you're heading, guys. Yeah.
Also, like, perception is everything. Do you know, this is all perception. Unaweza kuja hapa and you have a very different perception of what's happening. So learn to understand that. Unaona, whatever perception you have of something right now, you can always change it. It doesn't have to stay like that. You can change it. And it's si eti mtu mwingine anatoka huko nje akuja kusaidie guy. The moment you realize watu wako busy na maisha yao, unakaa hapo unangoja mtu akuje akusave. Hey, you will wait until the day you wake up and realize watu walisonga, people moved on, people grew up,
life goes
people
on.
changed. Friends that you used to be friends with, sahi kuna vile tu you cannot have even a conversation. Wewe umebaki, unaona, to that, try to change your perspective.
Yeah, true. And on a light note, in life, ladies, stop jumping into conclusions.
Yes, and come
down. Your meme. Actually, that meme has always in my mind squeezing. You're jumping into conclusions. Anyway, guys, thank you for listening to us. Thank you for tuning into this lovely episode. I really liked it, but it's very healing. Thank you. Remember to share, subscribe, comment, like. Remember, our YouTube page is Profound Connection Podcast. Remember, our Instagram page is Profound Connections Kenya. Personal space. Personal page is Tapa Music. Your personal space
Lu
is
Memo.
Yes, and
_ Memo.
Yeah. So do right by you. Love you. See you next time. Love you guys. Mwah.
Bye. Nilikwambia tunafaa kuwa na soundtrack.
Yeah.